Let's just start with a little bit of housekeeping from the other night. Any bumps and bruises, anything picked up on Tuesday that's going to be affecting you this weekend?
Yeah, potentially, one or two. I think that will come to light in the next 24 hours. Very little you can do 2 days post it, even more so when the lads get home at 3:30, 4 o'clock on a Wednesday morning, as it was. So a full-blooded affair in terms of the way the game was. And there's a couple, as expected, certainly on the back of the game, but also Saturday going into that. So we have to be sensible with our choices of bodies and energy going towards the weekend.
And you're looking at the bench certainly on Tuesday, you've got options there in terms of either freshening it up or bringing players in for replacements there. At this stage of a season, is it players aren't playing for contracts, but they're playing for for really putting themselves front and centre in your thinking for the end of this season and going into next?
Yeah, there's so much to play for, more than contracts. Personal pride's the biggest one. What you want to achieve as an individual in the game. So that trumps absolutely everything, regardless of what people's situations are at the end of the season. And every game, I always say, is an opportunity. We had a great opportunity on Tuesday. This weekend is an even better opportunity because it'll be a different type of game. We were against a team who are in fantastic form, so a real test. And we will have to shift the team around a little bit. And those opportunities, I think, will keep coming until the end of the season because the plan needs to get stronger and stronger on the back of what we see and what we find within the League One remits.
Do you think you have shifted the mindset of some of maybe the whole squad in terms of, you picked up more clean sheets recently than managed for a long time before that? Is that a collective desire to do that you've kind of instilled in them, or they've brought out of themselves?
No, look, it's in there. It's in themselves. I think they might be valuing it a little bit more, whether I'm having to bribe them or discuss it at length on a daily basis in meetings or in training, but also a shift of focus in terms of what we're doing on the training pitch. We could look like the best footballing team in the league, but it's irrelevant if we're 1 goal down or 2 goals down and chasing a game and leaky at certain times. We've not mastered it in any way, let's get that right, but we've certainly felt we're taking steps in the right direction, just in terms of the intent and the mindset of the team. And then maybe supporters will always criticise we might be taking something away from our attacking work because we're not working on that as consistently. But in terms of what we value as a group, just understanding where clean sheets get you. There's been times this season when I've been asking the team for a clean sheet towards half-time, so a 45-minute game as such, which sounds so strange to say, but the importance of that and the importance of being level for a certain amount of time gives you a huge opportunity as a football manager and as a football team. And I'm pretty sure our skill set we've got in amongst the group shows better when we're not chasing a game.
Yeah. Because actually, as many different coaches there are all those different opinions about how to do it, but most coaches do want to build from a solid base and then add things on. That wasn't necessarily the way it was done before. Has that taken a little bit of sort of reprogramming of players and having different priorities?
Possibly, but there's coaches out there who just outscore the opposition, but that's very difficult to do, and the records and data would suggest if you concede the first goal in League One level or lower league football, then you lose 80% of those games. So that is a big number. So first goal's key, and like I say, being level for longer, but also the feeling of our group within games and what we go to and what we go like when we concede and we're under pressure and we're a little bit fidgety and angsty with ourselves. So it's always, as a manager's remit, what the group needs. And I just felt, certainly on the back of probably the Northampton game and the Northampton first half, a different shift in terms of our attitude towards our daily work. And you might say it's starting to work, but it'll take months and months and months to really instill that.
And looking at your keeper and the back four, obviously young, but then you add Camille on that and sort of the defensive midfield role, and that potentially is a foundation that you could build on and develop over quite some time.
Yeah, over a long time. Jed is such a young goalkeeper. He'll need different experiences over the next 12, 18, 24 months to get him even more close to being a recognised first team goalkeeper, but he's doing that with us on the job and doing fantastically well as well. Same for Connor Taylor to a certain extent. He's played more games, but then Elkan on loan, the experience he's getting, Lewis Gordon, and obviously Luca, and you mentioned Camille. There's an energetic aspect to that, and one where you can mould and to shift and to improve, but also their bandwidth, with no disrespect to more senior players, their bandwidth is a lot greater and what they can achieve in a game and their own improvements and developments is a lot bigger. So that excites you as a manager. That gets the blood flowing in terms of where you can see Connor Taylor in 12 months' time, where you could see Elkin if he became our player in 12 months, Jed in 2 years' time. And it's not only should that excite a manager, that should excite the football club, because then they become assets. And not only assets in terms of winning games of football, but potentially sellable assets as well.
And you've talked in the past about wanting to, to be able to have more academy products come through, and that is a much longer term prospect than it is with the players you just mentioned there. But are there sort of things happening behind the scenes that are moving that sort of at least a little bit closer?
But it's a start, and then you've rightly said that will take a longer time than probably what we're seeing at the moment. There'll be some professional contracts handed out at the end of the season to younger players, developing players. Realistically, some of those will have to go out on loan before they even get close to ourselves. But hopefully people can start to see the signs of young players getting the opportunity, and a better pathway and a clearer pathway and a better plan for every young player at this football club. I need to spend more time within the academy remits, but I can't do that at the moment because we're trying to get the first team where it needs to be, but also putting the right people in the most important positions within that academy as well. And then all of a sudden it's aligned, and as long as they can see it really clearly where they could get to as players and also coaches as well, then hopefully our fans will see more and more young players on the pitch who've grown through our midst.
Yeah, so that obviously is more for the future. You mentioned Lincoln this coming weekend. They are in fantastic form. Is that something that I don't know, excites you, but it's a great challenge, isn't it?
Well, it makes my team talk, my preparation easy, I suppose. If we're playing a team who've coming off a couple of defeats or a couple of drab score lines, there's no sharpness in a message for myself. I think their score lines from their last 2 games and their last few home games is the message enough. A team who are free flowing and free scoring and in fantastic form and are really bright in terms of the way they play. So we have to be at our best on Saturday. But the pitch and the way the game, I think, will look might suit us to a certain extent. I just hope Tuesday night, and obviously the journey involved hasn't taken too much out of us, because we need energy. We need energy to match their energy and then implement our style on the game. But a real game to look forward to.